Back to me, Edward's eyes flashed to my face. It's fine, I assured them. I just have to remember not to move. He lapsed back into his phony slumber. I took advantage of my mother's momentary distraction to keep the subject from returning to my less than candid behavior. Where's Phil? I asked quickly. Florida. Oh, Bella, you'll never guess. Just when we were about to leave, the best news. Phil got something to guess. Yes, how did you guess the funds? You can't believe it. That's great, Mom, I said enthusiastically, as I could imagine, even though I had a little idea what that meant. And same here. And then you'll like Jacksonville so much, she gushed while I stared at her vacantly. I was a little bit worried when Phil started talking about Akron, what with the snow and everything. Because you know how I hate the cold, but now Jacksonville, it's always sunny, and the humidity really isn't that bad. We found the cutest house, yellow with white trim, and a porch just like in an old movie. And this huge oak tree, it's just a few minutes from the ocean, and you'll have your own bathroom. Wait, Mom, I interrupted. Edward still had his eyes closed, but he looked too tense to pass his sleep. What are you talking about? I'm not going to Florida. I live in Forks. This is my family now. But you don't have to anymore, silly, she laughed. Phil will be around so much more now. We've talked about it a lot, and what I'm going to do is trade off on the away games, half the time with you, half the time with him. Mom, I hesitated. I wondered how best to be diplomatic about this. I want to live in Forks. I'm already settled in at school, and I have a couple of girlfriends. Who? Really? She glanced toward Edward again when I reminded her of friends, so I tried another direction. And Charlie needs me. He's just all alone up there. He can't cook at all. I'm black. You a black woman. Okay. You want to stay in Forks? She asked, bewildered. The idea was inconceivable to her, and then her eyes flickered back to Edward. Why? I told you. School, Charlie. Ouch! I shrugged. Not a good idea. Her hands fluttered helplessly over me, trying to find a safe place to pat me. Oh, fuck. I lost my page. Fuck my asshole. Fluttered. Where's fluttered? No, fuck my dick. Shit, balls. Okay, here, She bade do with my forehead. It was unbandaged. Bella, honey, you hate Forks, she reminded me. It's not so bad. She frantically looked back and forth between Edward and me, this time very deliberately. Is it this boy? She whispered. I opened my mouth to lie, but her eyes were scrutinizing my face. I knew she would see right through that. He's part of it, I admitted. No need to confess how big a part. So, you had a chance to talk with Edward, I asked. Yes, she hesitated, looking at his perfectly still form, and I want to talk to you about that. Uh-oh. What about? I asked. Have you been using protection? I think that boy is in love with you, she accused, keeping her voice low. I think so too, I confided. And how do you feel about him? She only poorly concealed her raging curiosity in her voice. I sighed, looking away, as much as I love my mom. That conversation I wanted to have with her. I'm pretty crazy about him. There, that sounds like something a teenager with the first bush and blah 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 blah. Well, he seems very nice, and my goodness, he's incredibly good looking, but you're so young, Bella. I think she needs an older woman. Her voice was unsure, as far as I could remember. This was the first time since I was 8 she'd come close to trying to sound like a parental authority. I recognized the reasonable but firm choice of voice from talks I had with her about men. I know that, Mom. Don't worry about it. It's just a crutch, I soothed her. That's right, she agrees, easily pleased. Then she sighed and glanced guiltily over her shoulder at the big round clock of the wall. Do you need to go? She bit her lip. Phil's supposed to call in a little while. I didn't know you were going to wake up. No problem, Mom. I tried to look down the relief so she wouldn't get her feelings hurt. I won't be alone. I'll be back soon. I've been sleeping here, you know, she announced, proud of herself. I'm so proud. Oh, Mom, you don't have to do that. You can sleep at home. I'll never notice. The swirl of painkillers in my brain was making it hard to concentrate even now, though apparently I'd been sleeping for days. I have the same feeling sometimes. I was too nervous, she admitted sheepishly. There had been some crime in the neighborhood, and I don't like being there alone. Crime? I asked in alarm. Someone broke into that dance studio around the corner from the house and burned it to the ground. There's nothing left at all. And they left a stolen car right out front. Do you remember when you used to dance there, honey? I remember. I shivered and winced at the same time. I can stay, baby, if you need me. No, Mom, I'll be fine. Edward will be with me. She looked like that. Might be why she wanted to stay. I'll be back tonight. It sounded like as much as a warning as it sounded like a promise, and she glanced at Edward again and said it as she said it. I love you, Mom. I love you too, Bella. Try to be more careful when you walk, honey. I don't want to lose you to a flight of stairs and a window and some vampires. Edward's eyes stayed closed, but a wide grin flashed across his face. The nurse came bustling in, and then checked all my tubes and wires. My mother kissed my forehead and patted my gauze-wrapped hand, and left. The nurse was checking the paper readout on my heart monitor. Are you feeling anxious, honey? Your heart rate got a little high there. I'm fine, I assured her. I'll tell your RN that you're awake. She'll begin to see you in a minute. As soon as she closed the door, Edward was at my side. You stole a car? I raised my eyebrows. He smiled unrepentant. It was a good car, very fast. How was your nap? I asked. Interesting. His eyes narrowed. What? He looked down while he answered. I'm surprised. I thought Florida and your mother. Well, I thought that's what you would want. I'm staring at him uncomprehendingly. But you'd be stuck inside all day in Florida. You'd only be able to come out at night, just like a real vampire, because God knows you'd sparkle in the day. He almost smiled, but not quite. Then his face was grave. I would stay in Forks, Bella, or somewhere like it. He explained, somewhere where I couldn't hurt you anymore. I thought they were in love. What's with this? I didn't sink in at first. I continued to stare at him blankly as the words, one by one, clicked into my place in my head like a ghastly puzzle. I was barely conscious of the sound of my heart accelerating, though, as my breathing became hyperventilation. I was aware of the sharp-aching pain in my protesting ribs. He didn't say anything. He watched my face warily as the pain that had nothing to do with broken bones, pain that was infinitely worse, threatening to crush me. And then another nurse walked in through the room. Edward sat still as stone as she talked to the... Oh my God. When will this end? Time for more pain meds, sweetheart, she asked kindly, tapping the IV feed. No, I mumbled, trying to keep the agony out of my voice. I don't need anything. I couldn't afford to close my eyes now. I'm trying to keep the agony out of my voice as well. No need to be brave, honey. It's better if you don't get too stressed out. You need to rest. She waited, but I just shook my head. Okay, she sighed. Hit the call button when you're ready. She gave Edward a stern look and threw one more anxious glance at the machinery before leaving. His cool hands were calm. I stared at him with wild eyes. They were looking all over. Shh, Bella, calm down. Don't leave me, I begged in a broken voice. I won't, he promised. Now relax before I call the nurse back to sedate you. But my heart couldn't slow. Bella, he stroked my face anxiously. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right here as long as you need me. Do you swear you won't leave me? I whispered. I tried to control the gasping. At least my ribs were throbbing. Put his hands on either side of my face and brought his face close to mine. His eyes were wide and serious. I swear the smell of his breath was soothing. It seemed to ease the aching of my breath. It smelt like old eggs and sausage. He continued to hold my gaze while my body slowly relaxed and the beeping returned to our normal pace. His eyes were dark, closer to black than gold today. Better, he asked. Yes, I said cautiously. He shook his head and muttered something unintelligible. That's what I've been doing this whole time. I thought I picked up the word overreaction. Why did you say that? I whispered, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Are you tired of having to save me all the time? Do you want me to go away? I sure do. No, I don't want you to be without you, Bella, of course. Do not be rational, and I have no problem with saving you either. If it weren't for the fact that I was the one being in danger, then I'm the reason that you're here. Yes, you are the reason, I frowned. That's the reason I'm here alive. Barely, his voice was just a whisper, covered in gauze and plaster and hardly able to move. I wasn't referring to my most recent near-death experience, I said, growing irritated. I was thinking of the others. You can take your pick. If it weren't for you, I would be running away in the Fork Cemetery. We have a fork draw in my house. He winced at my words, but the haunted look didn't leave his eyes. That's not the worst part, though, he continued to whisper. He acted as if I hadn't spoken, not seeing me there on the floor, crumpled and broken. His voice was choked, not thinking it was too late. I'd even hear you scream in pain. All those unbearable memories that I'll carry with me for the rest of eternity. No, the very worst feeling, knowing that I couldn't stop, believing that I was going to kill you myself. But you didn't. I could have, so easily. I got roid rage. I knew I needed to stay calm, but he was trying to talk himself into leaving me, and the panic fluttered in my lungs, trying to get out. Promise me, I whispered. What? You know what? I was starting to get angry now. He was so stubbornly determined to dwell on the negative. He heard the change in my tone. His eyes tightened. I don't seem to be strong enough to stay away from you, so I'll suppose that you'll get your way, whether it kills you or not, and I hope it kills you, I may add, he added roughly. Good, he hadn't promised, though, a fact that I had not missed. The panic was only barely contained. I had no strength left to control the anger. You told me how you stopped. Now I want to know why, I demanded. Why, he repeated it wearily. Why you did it. Why didn't you just let the venom spread? By now I would be just like you. Edward's eyes seemed to turn black. I remembered that this was something he'd never intended me to know. Alice must have been preoccupied by the things she'd learned about herself, or she'd be very careful with her thoughts around him. Clearly, he had no idea that she filled me in on the mechanics of vampire conversions. He was surprised and infuriated. His nostrils flared, his